to the Casino Rama Grill Room. I'm Gareth Wheeler. We're going out with a bang today on the program. Ready for the weekend with just one very special guest. When people ask me, Gareth, who are among your favorite guests over the years that this program's been running, this one man comes to mind, and he's sitting to my right today. Mr. Mick Foley, welcome back to Toronto, my good friend.
Thank you very much. It's one thing to be able to say those words, but I've seen them in print.
Yeah, and we are obviously a huge fan of yours. I want to get to this whole Tori Amos discussion a little later on in the program.
Okay,
but
sure.
You have had really a crazy busy last couple months, and most of it revolves around this, your new book, Countdown to Lockdown. You fought Ric Flair. You were at the National Mall, hanging with Jon Stewart, getting awards. I mean, your head must be spinning right now.
That was a trip to be out there in front of that many people. I'd seen it, said tens of thousands, and in D.C. when I was watching the World Series that night, they said 2 comedians draw thousands. I'm like, you know what? Thousands could be 2, 3, 4. Tens of thousands could be 20, 30. I've been in front of tens of thousands, and now I know what it's like to be in front of hundreds of thousands. There was at least...
And this is the video right here. It was the rally to restore sanity.
And or fear.
Right, there you go. And they gave you a medal for...
reasonableness. In everything but my day job. Yeah. I guess I made a pretty good impression on Jon. I met him at Arlington National Cemetery in Virginia, and I'm sure he meets people every day, but he doesn't meet them there. And so we had a pretty profound discussion, and therefore, when a job came up to be the senior ass kicker a year later, I guess Jon personally suggested me.
Well, you've been on the Daily Show twice. You're back on the Daily Show next week,
right,
I believe.
Yes, on the 10th.
So you and Jon are kind of buddies right now.
He really seems to like me. Even I don't quite get it, because he is, he's one of the most important people in the U.S. and therefore, arguably the world, most influential people. And even when they were doing their little rehearsal the night before, a very low-key rehearsal. I mean, when I walked in, he looked at Mick, and he left the rehearsal to come up and give me a hug. I was like, hey, Jon, how you doing? He's like, hey, come. Him and Steven, they could not have been nicer, really.
Well, but that's the effect that you have on people, Mick, because you're a genuine good guy. and I say that with all seriousness, because 100% of the proceeds of this book are going to charities. We might as well not hold back. We should get out what the charities are right away, Mick.
Did you know, up until a couple weeks ago, I would have corrected you. Said, no, it's 100% of the advance. But now that I've seen the sales, it's 100% of the proceeds, because we're not going to outsell the advance. I was really, really motivated by a couple of sources. One of them, we'll get to Tori Amos later, but really without her, you would not be holding that book. So I had wanted to donate 50% of the advance, and after going to Sierra Leone, I found out about a project that I could fund, which would have amounted to 50% of the advance. And I was like, man, that would kind of leave R.A.I.N.N out of the equation. And R.A.I.N.N, Rape, Abuse, Incest National Network, was the group that Tori co-founded. And that just didn't seem right. So, I was listening to one of her seasonal tunes last year, and I just became inspired. And I thought, you know what, how much, I'm really fortunate to have not been harmed by the economic downturn in the way that some people have. And I was like, I think I could do that. Now, a tip for all you married guys out there: if you're going to donate 100% of the proceeds, it's best that your wife not learn about that from reading the flap jacket. Yeah, she's like, what are you doing? And then you complain about the shopping, But
that's part of being in and around Mick Foley. Like, really, I mean, you were the volunteer of the month for September for R.A.I.N.N. I mean, this is kind of your MO, or has become your MO.
Yes, I really wanted to... I wanted to know what it was like to be a volunteer, because specifically with R.A.I.N.N, it's so volunteer-driven. I mean, I went up in the offices. They only have 12 people on their staff. And, of course, they have people who work with them, alongside them in, crisis centers across the U.S. But it's so dependent on volunteers. And I thought, man, I've kind of played a hero on TV, but I've never really been one. So I did the 40-hour online course, and now I go on at least once a week, and I try to help people on a one-to-one basis.
That's kind of what you're doing, though, because, I mean, you played the everyman's man, and now you're doing it in real life, too. So I wonder, it's just coming to mind here, whether or not Mick Foley wants to get into politics someday and really make a difference, whether it's within your state or nationally.
Well, the truth is, I no longer believe that politics is the way to make a difference. I think everybody starts out with good intentions and kind of morphs into the same old thing. I thought the political season, the election season, was just really ugly. And I thought, for that reason, the rally to restore sanity and/or fear really resonated, because Jon said, in his really poignant closing speech, he was like, we do get things done every day. People of different races, sexes, sexual orientations, we do get things done. Every single day we find ways to work together. The only place we don't work together is here. And he pointed to the back at Congress and on cable TV.
Right.
And so I know when I watched the World Series in D.C. after the rally, it's really depressing to watch the consecutive negative campaign ads. And so I went.
We get them up here as well, from upstate New York,
really?
and we get infiltrated with that kind of business. And when we run our elections up here, there's not so much of the smear. I mean, it's not obviously an ideal forum to get positive action accomplished up here, but still, I guarantee we share your pain. So it's good to see that you're doing. You're doing what you can do in many other forums, including your book. It's in bookstores everywhere. Mick Foley will be at Chapters at Square One, 7 p.m. tonight, so immediately following this program, hustle on out to Square One, get your book signed by Mick Foley and pick it up for a great cause, and it's a fantastic read as well.
Thank you.
More of Mick Foley coming up right after this.